The Nintendo Switch Lite is one of the best modern portables out there, but there's just one problem that keeps me from actually using the thing, and that's the screen kind of sucks. I mean, like, it's okay if you need to just give it to a kid or something, but it's even worse than the original Nintendo Switch's screen, and that was nothing to write home about. So last year, when I saw that Taki Udon was actually putting together a new company to make stuff like new screens for the Nintendo Switch Lite, I was very interested. And you know what I thought? What the hell? I'll put my money on this YouTuber I never met for a company that doesn't have a track record, because what's the worst that could happen? That never goes wrong, right? And I was super late to the pre-order party, so I just ordered the gold one because that was the only one left. And yeah, I got a gray Switch. Who cares? What was the chance I was even going to get it anyways? So last year I ordered the Super5 OLED replacement screen for the Nintendo Switch Lite. And I waited. And of course there were delays, stuff happened. Months later, when it finally showed up in the mail, I wasn't even like looking for it, and I ended up just kind of putting it to the side. But it wasn't vaporware. Retro Remake actually made it happen, and they shipped it, and a few weeks ago I was like, hey, I have an evening to kill. Why don't I put that screen into my little Nintendo Switch Lite and probably kill it in the process. Yeah, I was so certain that I was going to destroy my Nintendo Switch Lite in the process that I didn't even bother to film it. I was not planning on making a video about this thing. This was just some fun project, but I did it. I put an OLED screen in the Nintendo Switch Lite, and it looks really freaking good. Now, I actually like how the gold border turned out with my gray Switch. I think it kind of looks unique, and you know, I don't even notice it when I'm playing, but yeah, this screen looks awesome. Like, it looks just as good, if not better than the OLED Switch, and because it's a smaller screen, it has more pixel density, so games just kind of look better on this thing. And it looks way better than the original IPS Switch. Like, this is an awesome product, and I'm amazed at how well it all came together. It wasn't painless, it's not perfect, but that's why I decided to make this video, because this is actually kind of a cool thing, and I hope it continues. I hope there are more of these screens made, because right now if you go to Retro Remake's website, it's all sold out. There's pre-orders, but they're also sold out. And I'm not sure when this thing's coming back, but I hope it does, because it's really cool. But I decided to make this video because not only is this thing super cool, but there's also not a ton of documentation about it. I mean, Retro Remake's website is so bare that if you just showed it to me without any context, I probably would have assumed it's a scam. But no, this thing's real. This thing's legit and actually like really thoughtfully made in a lot of ways. This is not a how-to guide at all. Like I said, I didn't even film it when I did it because I was so sure I was going to destroy this thing. But I will give you a few pointers. First, if you have the option, buy the non-touch version. Like, this is not a touch screen. And the reason for that is that it's way easier to install, and I never used the touchscreen on my Switch anyway, so it's not like I'm missing anything. When you buy this thing and you get it in the mail, Retro Remake actually includes a lot of extra things to help make this process doable. Like, they provide pretty much all the tools you need to complete this. Like, it's handy to have an extra iFixit kit lying around, but yeah, you can do this whole screen replacement just with the stuff that's in the box. It comes with a little suction cup that you use to pull out the old screen. Like, the screen itself even comes in like a little Pelican case, which is like pretty cool. It's kind of hilarious to me that all these extras are so well thought out and generous, and there's not even a slip of paper in there that explains what you need to do. Like, there's not even a PDF code or like anything. You just are told to go look at the video and give it your best shot. And the problem with looking at the video, it's a very good video, but Taki's using a prototype version of the screen in it, and it doesn't, not everything looks exactly the same, and not everything lines up the same way. And I just wish either there's an updated version of the video or just some sort of written documentation would be great, because yeah, I mean, like, I assume that video is going to be around forever, but also who knows? One of the hardest parts of this whole process is just getting the Switch open in the first place. Like, Nintendo really doesn't want you tinkering around in here. And if you are familiar with working on any small electronics, you probably will be familiar with the plastic clip phenomenon. But yeah, you remove a few screws, but then you need to use like picks to literally like pull the plastic off. And the plastic that Nintendo uses on this case is kind of soft, so you may get frustrated and you may damage it. So just, you know, especially when you're closing it back up, like clips can get misaligned, they can get damaged, they can get bent. Just take a deep breath, center yourself, and try again. That was honestly the hardest part of this whole thing. And I definitely did kind of scratch up the outside of my case quite a bit in the process, but you don't really notice it in everyday use. So some annoyances on this thing. There are 2 buttons on a ribbon cable that you install to actually control some aspects of the screen, like gamma and how the red is interpreted. And you're supposed to, while the system is open, click those buttons to kind of cycle through options, see which ones you like, and it's kind of like a permanent setting that you just leave there. Now, you don't really have to worry about like getting into your Switch to change anything else on the screen, like brightness slider still just works through the software. Everything else works just fine. But this kit does include a replacement backplate that's supposed to have a cutout so you can access those 2 buttons when the back is open, but it's not in the right place and the ribbon cable isn't the right shape. And also in the instructions, they mentioned there's going to be labels on the buttons, but there are no labels. You're just kind of guessing what you're doing. So it just kind of contributes to that little bit of janky feeling, which, you know, when you're modding consoles, like that happens, but it's like so close, but not quite there. Like when I have my system open, like I can access one of the buttons, but not both. I thought about cutting out a piece, but I'm happy with how it looks, so I'm not planning on changing that anytime soon. Also in the video, he doesn't transfer the extra thermal paste to the new frame, which, I mean, just do that. You might as well. I mean, the Switch Lite is fine without it, but you want your system to be as cool as possible to reduce fan noise. So just all you gotta do is just scrape the paste off and transfer it over. It's easy. Now, Taki himself has been pretty transparent about there is an increase in battery drain from the new OLED screen. It's brighter, it draws more power. That makes total sense. And honestly, like the difference isn't that big, especially since we're so used to PC handhelds and big ginormous systems that just drain battery really fast. I will say though that idle power draw seems to be a lot more. Like when your system's just off in sleep mode, for some reason it seems to still drain battery faster. And that may just be my particular Switch unit, but it's something to keep an eye on. And if you notice it, just turn your system off when you're not using it. No big deal. I mean, like I said, I wasn't originally even gonna make a video about this, but this turned out to be such a cool little project that, yeah, I mean, I'm really into it. And I hope that more of these come out. I hope more people get a chance to get a hold of them. Taki mentioned like how he wants to do this for other older Nintendo systems, which I think is awesome because, you know, like the original DS, those screens are yellowing like crazy these days. And, you know, there's the whole thing about would you get the IPS screen or TN panel on 3DS? Like there's so many systems that could really benefit from something like this. And I know we're seeing a lot of Game Boys now have like beautiful replacement OLED screens. So I think this is the wave of the future. And even though Retro Remake looks kind of shady, it's still way more legit than a lot of the other sellers out there. And, you know, now that I've used them before, like I would trust them. I've given them my money again. Like, yeah, like they've earned my trust. So obviously always use caution when you're buying anything like this. And also don't try this on a Switch that you can't afford to lose. Like, there's a lot of ways that this can go totally wrong. But if you're a tinkerer and you enjoy that sort of thing, like this doesn't require any soldering. And like, yeah, this is like a fun little project. I didn't get sent this or anything. I just bought this for fun. And yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Right now, it seems like the only pre-orders that are open are the Super 7 screen replacements for the original Switch. And I know that there are some people selling the high 7Cs that would be very interested in that. Personally, I really feel like this makes the most sense with the Switch Lite because even with the Switch 2 coming out, there's still a place for a small, compact handheld. And I know there are a lot of people that absolutely love their Switch Lites. And yeah, it's like a nice system. This is like the closest we have to a modern day Game Boy. So what do you think? Are you interested in the Super5 OLED screen replacement? Have you done it yourself already? And if so, do you have any tips for other people who are trying to do it? So Taki, I know you're not watching this, but nice job.